Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Rutledge. Discussion, member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just asked about this morning because our actual payroll came in a lot higher than we estimated. So I just got this sheet given to me. I asked them to pass it out to everybody so you guys have it on your table. But we estimated 179 million, and our actual payroll came in at 206 million. So we were way off on that. I guess I've just been informed that HR is the one that provides these numbers to our work comp insurance carrier. So I'm not sure how we missed it by so much. So I think we need to probably look at that much better. Maybe finance should be involved in that. And then my question is, what did we do for this upcoming year? How much did we give them in payroll? And I don't know if Mesero's on the line or Alliant, but what number did we give them for this current year?
For the current year, we're probably gonna have to look into that. I do have
Well,
Mesero.
the number that we gave them, we have to give them a number. We have to have insurance in place already. So we gave them a number for payroll. I mean, I'd like to know what it is.
Yeah, I would have to look in to see what we did for this current year.
Does Mesero know? Are they on the line?
Kathy, are you here?
I assume we gave them at least 206 plus whatever 2% increase that we give. I would assume it's like 210 or something. I don't know, but.
We asked her to be here. I guess she's not here
Okay.
yet. You know, we could get the answer and bring it back.
Yeah,
to work.
I mean, I'd like to know, do we have this issue coming up again? I mean, we should be at least using this one plus whatever we gave 2%. I mean.
Yeah, I think we can get that answer fairly quickly.
Yeah, I just make sure that we're not gonna find ourselves in this position again, but I think you guys need to be more involved than HR because we miss this by a lot. And we do the insurance right at the end, right? Don't we approve all of our insurance contracts like at the end of November, right before the year?
Yes.
So we should have our budget already in place, what we think payroll is gonna be, what we've allocated, including cost of living. So we should have a really good number to use for our work comp insurance for payroll. And I understand that none of you guys are involved in this. This was HR that gave them that number, but we need to make sure the number is correct so we don't have a surprise like that.
Sure.
Thank you. But yeah, just whatever number we use. Thank you.
Thank you, member Krajewski. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whoa, don't go anywhere. Ooh, Jeff.
Don't go anywhere. Chris and Jeff, Jim has some questions.
I mean, again, someone's got to explain this, how we're off $26 million, but then we have additional surplus and it says we're $7.3 million under personnel budget. So how can we be over on estimate and then under on a payroll estimate and we have additional surplus money?
The budget and the actual are different. Remember, we're going back a year. So when they first did the quote for workers' comp insurance, they were using a lesser amount for salaries. And then the board approved 3% COLA went up to a 3% merit. There was overtime in a lot of departments, including the sheriff's office. So things like that contribute, and they true that up a year after they actually do the quote. So it's a $26,000 increase to the premium. Not the 26, not 26 million, it's 26,000.
No, I'm saying from 179 to 206.
Right. That,
But if
yeah.
you then put additional 7.3 million, we're way off.
Well, remember too, it's not just the general fund, it's also the care center. There was a contract that was approved at the care center that included increases. It includes transportation. It includes public work, includes the whole, everybody that's on payroll is included in there. So that would also include equity increases and things like that. So again, we will go back and see what made up that difference, and hopefully we can get that for the board meeting to answer that question.
I mean, doing workman comp, I would rather be surprised and get a refund at the end.
Yeah.
Than have to pay additional money. So, I mean, we just have to look at what we're estimating and make sure it's a true number.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't want to be surprised, every year. I'd rather make sure we're on the same page when we do these estimates and, I'd
Yeah.
rather like say go high than go low and then be surprised. I'd rather when they do the audit, get a refund in the end and
Right.
get the other way around. Thank
Thank you. Thank you, member Zay. Member Krajewski.
Yeah, again, I don't think that 6% means anything, Jeff, because again, we approve our insurance at in the November meetings. So right before the fiscal year ends is when we're improving the insurance contracts for the upcoming year. So they start working on their quotes, yes, 4 months in advance or 5 months in advance, and we may give them some number as payroll, but once we get to the end of November, when we're actually getting ready to put it in place, we already know what our budget is. So we already know there's a 6% increase. We're giving this merit increase. So that's when we should be going to measure, okay, yeah, you may have gave us a work comp and it's based on X dollars per whatever payroll. Our final payroll in our budget is going to be X. And I mean, it's not you again, it's HR that didn't do that. And they should know. So the 6% should have nothing to do with it because that was already factored in. And we should have known that in November when they're getting ready to put the insurance in place.
Okay, but I'm just thinking, when they looked at actual salaries at the time they did the workers' comp quote, they weren't adjusted yet at that time for the higher amounts.
Correct. They're working on their quote and they gave us one, but we know when we approve in our budget, right, where we know about what payroll is going to be.
Yeah.
And we're approving the insurance in November also, and we should be on the phone with Mesereau saying our final number for this coming up year budget's going to be 206,000 approximately, and we should be close, not, and then they give us a number.
It's not actually built in because we don't see that increase till the end of December.
Yep, Chris can come, yeah.
We don't see that increase until the end of December actually in the system. So if we're pulling that payroll, and I'll have to look and see what we use. If we pull at the end of November, it's not going to reflect the COLA in there, new head counts being added, adjustments that have been approved, things like
But
that.
I'm talking for the budget going forward for the next year, what our payroll is going to be.
They might not be using budget numbers.
All right.
I'm sure they're using actuals. The other thing that I just thought of, and again, I have to look into it, they might not do an audit every year. These could be numbers going back for 2 years. So those are things that we have to look into.
Well, it says December 1st, 2022 to 2023.
Okay,
To audit.
okay.
I mean, it was just for last year. That's at least what this thing they gave me says.
Right.
So I mean, it was last year's, which is typical. And I guarantee you these guys are doing an audit every year. I mean, some company, yeah, that small ones, they won't. But with the magnitude of the size of us, they're going to get the actual payroll. I just like to know what we gave them for this current year.
Sure.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member, we're going to move on to development and member Tornatori.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I move approval of a resolution to enter into an intergovernmental agreement. This is DCR 1-24 between the Winfield Park District and County of DuPage to enable the county to make use of a minibus from the Winfield Park District for the county's March 20th, 24 field trip relative to the Grounded Solutions Network program.
I have a motion by member Tornatori, a second by member Desart. Any discussion, member Zay?
Who's going on this field trip? I sure hope it's not us. Is it
Chair,
county board members?
Chair Conroy is taking all of us like we were in 6th grade and we're all gonna go to the, no, it's Paul and some members of staff.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Not you.
Because, you know, I
Come on, come.
No, I was going to get some show tunes ready for.
Well, we were going to make sure you had your
We'll
brown
sing-
paper
we'll
bag
sing
with your-
99 bottles of beer.
and
on
juice
the wall.
boxes and apples. So yeah.
You're gonna make a mixtape?
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, member Tornatori. We move on to human services, member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will let this board know that I will give an update on our pantry capital infrastructure program under old business.
Okay.
I move to approve item 240785, a budget transfer to reclass an expense paid out of line 1,017.50.53.807 when it should have been paid out of line 1,017.50.54.110 for Q-Track LLC invoice fiscal year 23.
I have a motion by member Schwarzy, a second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSCO 124, recommendation for the approval of amendment to purchase order 6640-0001 serve for a contract issued to Benevate Inc., doing business as Neighborly Software for the purchase of grants management software to increase the contract in the amount of $8,000 for the Smarty Streets add-on, resulting in an amended contract total amount not to exceed $142,000, an increase of 5.97%.
Have a motion by member Schwarzy, a second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Shorzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1324, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Performance Food Service for secondary food, supplies, and chemicals for the DuPage Care Center for the period March 1st, 2024 through February 28th, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $63,000.
Motion by member Schwartz, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Schwartz.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1424, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Advocare Systems for rental of medical equipment, beds, and mattresses for the DuPage Care Center for the period of March 1st, 24 through February 28th, 25, for a contract total not to exceed $99,000.
Motion by member Schwartz, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Schwartz. We move on to judicial public safety and member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted the committee to know that for item GPS, this one item, the dollar is not a typo. It is $1 for the contract because the cost of the monitoring services is borne by the offenders. So I would like to move on JPSR 0004-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Sentinel Offender Services LLC to provide alcohol monitoring services to adult offenders for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2026, for a total contract amount not to exceed $1.
I have a motion by member Evans, a second by member Zay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Evans.
Thank you.
We move on to Public Works and member Garcia.
Thank you. Just really quickly, I wanted to thank facilities staff for all the hard work they've done on the boardroom here. I know it's not completely done, but they've been working overtime, all the contractors and the staff. So I want to give a big thank you to them. Moving on, I make a motion to approve FMP 000824, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Gerke Technology Group, Inc. to furnish and deliver water treatment chemicals as needed for campus facilities, for facilities management for the period of March 23rd, 2024 through March 22nd, 2025, for a contract total amount not to exceed $50,000.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. She came in there really quietly. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FMP 000924, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Midwest Environmental Consulting Services, Inc. for on-call professional environmental consulting services and asbestos training for facilities management for the period of March 1st, 2024 through March 28th, 2028, for a total contract amount not to exceed $99,500.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWCO 000124, amendment to County Contract 5312-0001 served, issued to Commonwealth Edison Company due to the carbon-free energy resource adjustment to pay bills through the end of the contract for Public Works for a change order to increase the contract the amount of $300,000, taking the original contract amount of $1,168,000, resulting in an amended contract amount not to exceed $1,468,000,000, an increase in 25.68%.
I have a motion by member Garcia, a second by member Yu, and member Zay seeking recognition. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, can we get explanation? I know this, but maybe the rest of the board doesn't know that this isn't some bad budgeting thing. This is via state legislation that we have to deal with this. So, Nick,
Yeah,
if
can you
could-
come on up, Nick? Good
or
morning.
the chair, whatever wants to.
You were absolutely correct. This is not a bad budgeting. What this is the state passed a law, and some years we have this, some years we don't. It all depends on the performance of the nuclear power across the state, and this is meant as a supplement to the nuclear power through their regulation, through their fees. And we don't know if we're gonna get it. We could go 3 years without getting it, and then we could get it 3 years in a row, depending on the performance. And so all the customers of the state are subject to this when it does come through.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWP 000524, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Safeco North America, Inc. to furnish receiving station for the Woodridge Green Valley wastewater treatment plant for Public Works for the period of February 20th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, for a total contract amount not to exceed $197,183.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Garcia. We move on to technology. Member you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I would like to move to discharge the Technology Committee for consideration of item TEP 000524 for recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Environmental Systems Research Institute to provide maintenance and technical support for the county's enterprise GIS software for IT for the period of March 9, 2024 through March 8, 2025 for total contract amount of $187,474.82.
Okay, so we have a motion to discharge by member you, a second by member Guston. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed, member you.
And thank you. And so now I move on TEP 000524, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Esri to provide maintenance and technical support for the county's enterprise GIS software for IT.
Member you, we have to go. Oh, go ahead. Continue. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. For the period of March 9, 2024 through March 8, 2025 for a total contract amount of $187,474.82, which is not suitable for competitive bids.
I have a motion by member you, second by member Garcia. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member you.
Thank you.
We move on to transportation and member Ozog.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I move for approval of 240675 amendment to resolution DTR 6422, a local public agency agreement for federal participation with the Illinois Department of Transportation and the County of DuPage for the Central Signal System Expansion Number 4 to decrease the county share $680,560 and increase the federal share $730,000.
Motion by member Ozog, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozog.
Okay, I move for approval of DTP 000924, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Vulcan Construction Materials LLC to furnish and deliver coarse and fine aggregates as needed for the Division of Transportation, $40,000, and Public Works, $30,000 for the period April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $70,000 per lowest responsible bid, first of 3 renewals.
Motion by member Ozog, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? Member Desart.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I should know this, but I'd like clarification for this one and the next one. We use Vulcan and Ozinga a lot, and I'm just wondering when it says first of 3 renewals, do we automatically renew them after the first year that we get the lowest bid from them? Or do we go out to bid again to see if maybe somebody's a lower bid? Thanks, Bill.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. So normally when we have a renewal contract available to us like this, what we do is we look at everybody else's bid prices that they've been getting in the past year. And if our bids were below the more recent bids at the other agencies, IDOT, the other counties, the other towns within DuPage, then we go ahead and do the renewal. If we see the prices are look like they're more competitive for new bids, we will do a rebid.
Excellent. All right, good news. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 001024, a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ozinga Ready Mixed Concrete Incorporated to furnish and deliver Portland cement concrete as needed for the Division of Transportation. Oh, did I read this one?
No.
$50,000. Deja vu. And Public Works, $25,000 for the period April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $75,000 per lowest responsible bid, first of 3 renewals.
Motion by member Ozog, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 001124, recommendation for the approval of a contract to K5 Construction Corporation to furnish and deliver bituminous paving materials for the Southeast region as needed for the Division of Transportation, $115,000, and Public Works, $24,000 for the period April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $139,000 per lowest responsible bid, first of 3 renewals.
A motion by member Ozog, second by member Garcia. I see member Krajewski. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, maybe Bill, just to pick up on member Desart's question, these next 3 are all the same type of material, but just different regions. Does that mean that these quotes are cheaper in the different region?
The prices come back better if it's basically the trucking cost, right? To get the materials from one end of the county to the other. So sometimes the southwest area will get a better price from somebody who's located down there, but they don't want to deliver to the north end without.
So the
fuel
question
premium.
is that like K5 would be higher if we wanted them to go to the west or the central region?
Yes, and that's why we've been bidding it as regions. So they bid on separately on all three regions, and we'll see the
Right.
price come back.
So that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
these were the lowest for the region. So they bid on the
Correct.
region. All three of these carriers or these companies all bid on the region, and we took the lowest one, and
For each
it
region.
just happened to be each region had a different one for the lowest.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Ozog?
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 001224. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Flowtech Construction Incorporated to furnish and deliver bituminous paving materials for the western region as needed for the Division of Transportation. The period April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $50,000 per lowest responsible bid, first of three renewals.
Have a motion by member Ozog, second by member Rutledge. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Ozog?
I hope everyone realizes all these contracts mean spring is coming. So,
Yes.
and construction season, sorry. I move for approval of DTP, well, they are synonymous. I move for approval of DTP 001324. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to DuPage Asphalt Company to furnish and deliver bituminous paving materials for the central region as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025, for a contract not to exceed $110,000 per lowest responsible bid, first of three renewals.
A motion by member Ozog, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Ozog?
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 001424. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Santec Consulting Services Incorporated for professional structural engineering services for various improvements as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period February 27th, 2024 through June 30th, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $350,000. Professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with Local Government Professional Services Selection Act.
Motion by member Ozog, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, member Ozog.
Oh, I'm done.
We move
Thank you.
on to finance resolutions, and I'm going to call member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to combine items 8A, B, C, and D, acceptance appropriation or additional appropriation resolutions.
I have a motion by member Krajewski, second by member Schwarzy to combine items A, B, C, and D under finance. All in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Member Krajewski, please proceed.
Chair, I move on FIR 0038-24, acceptance of the DuPage Animal Friends unrestricted grant for $50,000. FIR 0039-24, acceptance appropriation of interest earned on the investment of the DuPage Animal Friends, $1,200. FIR 0040-24, acceptance appropriation of the 211 Illinois Department of Public Health grant for $102,000, and FIR 0041-24, additional appropriation for the DuPage Care Center Foundation Music Therapy Grant going from $55,332 to $67,587 at a $12,255 increase.
Do I have a second? Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion on any of these items? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move on FIR 0042-24 to the correction of the Scribner's error to the resolution FIR 0016-24, Illinois Department of Commerce Opportunity Grant.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Rutledge. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move to combine 8A, 8F, 8G, HH, which are all authorization to transfer and appropriate funds.
I have a motion by member Krajewski and a second by member Garcia to combine items F, G, and H. All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I moved on FIR 0044-24, authorization to transfer and appropriate up to but not to exceed $2.5 million additional funds from our general fund to the Housing Solutions Program Fund. FIR 0045-24, authorization to transfer and appropriate up to but not to exceed $2 million in additional funds from the general fund to the local gas fund, and FIR 0046-24, authorization to transfer and appropriate up to but not to exceed $2 million in additional funds to the general fund from the general fund to our tort liability fund for fiscal year 2023.
Thank you. Motion by member Gajewski, second by member Garcia. I see member Zay wants to be recognized, member Dessert, and then I have some questions myself. So member Zay, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I had questions on the Housing Solutions Program. Can we get an update? And I'm asking is that, you know, there was a zoning board hearing on a workforce housing, and it's kind of troubling. They denied it. And, you know, in their testimony, when they went to deny, they said this is unique outside of case law. It dawned on me the main gist of this was workforce housing. Now, I looked into it, the county appointed a task force, but have not passed any legislation. They're the legislative body for the county, we're not. So my question is, what are we doing on this? Are we looking at changing our zoning ordinance to add density, to give credits for affordable housing? I think we need to get moving on this before, I mean, I'm in favor of giving the money, but we need to get moving and start changing the zoning when our zoning board is calling us out for not doing anything.
Yes, thank you, member Zay. Member, Mary, or who wants to speak? Mary or Nick? Go ahead.
We do intend to have a full ad hoc Housing Solutions Committee meeting in 2 weeks, and we're meeting with members Tornatori and Chaplin to review that agenda later today. And all of the things that you've discussed are absolutely on the table. We're in the midst of this study by the Grounded Solutions Network. That's the field trip that we're talking about later in March. But one of the things on the agenda coming up on the 12th will be exactly the kinds of things that you're talking about. What are the kinds of actions that we can take, and what would be the next steps in terms of taking those actions to encourage the creation of more affordable housing?
Okay, because my concern is we all know we want affordable housing,
Yes.
but we have to have partners in this. And the main partners we have to have are municipalities, because it's going to happen where this is going to be in between two municipalities. We don't have sewer and water, so they're going to have to go to the local municipality. So we're going to have to figure this out, or it's not going to go anywhere unless we include them on there, or we go to Springfield and ask for legislation that basically tells municipalities for affordable housing developments, they're going to have to supply sewer and water and be reimbursed by the county for it, which is 5 million could go for. But I mean, we need to get moving. Obviously, if we got to change the zoning, we got to have public hearings, we got to do a bunch of stuff. So it's not a slow process. I mean, I know we've been working on it, but we need to kind of step it up a little bit.
We had a conversation with DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference Executive Director. It was Thursday or Friday of last week, specifically about that issue. And we are inviting both an elected official and a staff level person from municipalities of DuPage to join the sort of the staff level working group that we've got going on. So yeah, I completely agree with everything you said.
Okay,
Yes.
well, we know, but that, but no, thank you. I'm glad to hear that we're on it. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank you, member Zay. So I have member Dessert, then member Guston, member Dessert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question is this an additional 2.5 million allotment, or is it is an additional? So we've already approved the 2.5 earlier, so we're up to
So-
$5 million?
So this is the 2.5 from 2023. You approved a 2.5 from 2022, the surplus. So if approved today, you will have 5 million in this account. I do believe that there's been, like Grounded Solutions, there's been a small contract with that, so you don't have the full 5 million, but that's what you've reserved so far.
Great. I'm happy to hear that this is additional. Serving on the DuPage Housing Authority board, we saw a presentation a few weeks ago from Full Circle Communities. And they're planning to build 42 units in Glen Ellen. And I know that they do have partners, members with IDA and finance tax credits. And I do know that they're going to be asking DuPage County for some help as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, member Dessert. Member Guston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, and there is a difference between many different types of affordable housing definitions. As we know, there's IDA and HUD, which is more subsidized housing. And then there's workforce housing, which is entry-level housing, and then obviously market housing. We need to be cognizant of that when we're speaking, unless we're just going to be a proponent of subsidized housing, or we're going to be a proponent of workforce housing, or staff is going to throw them all together and tell us exactly what package each of those can apply for. The other thing I want to be sensitive about is Springfield. Springfield has passed a lot of legislation in the housing industry right now that is costing builders money and lots of money. And that money ends up not making things affordable for many people. So we need to be on top of that also when we're looking at cost factors, because Springfield will throw some stuff in and say, you need to have this in a property or in construction, or it may be a green issue, don't know. But then it's dollars and cents for everybody else and we won't meet our goals. So we definitely want to be on top of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Guston.
Can-
Any further
Can I-
discussion
I'm
on?
sorry, can
Oh,
I
go
just
ahead.
make a
Yeah, yeah,
comment?
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we're extremely cognizant of the fact that there are different funding sources that fund different levels of income for folks who are eligible to live in different types of housing. And so, for example, the HUD funds that we provide can help folks and up to 60 or 80% of the area median income. So when we talk about the 5 million that we have out of general fund, we absolutely want to make sure that we're not duplicating any fund that already comes with, sort of federal regulations. We want to look for ways that we can do that gap financing where the federal resources, the tax credit resources, the state resources aren't able to fill those gaps. So that's one of the reasons that we're working so closely together between community development and building and zoning, is to make sure that we're layering any kind of assistance from the county as best we can with other state and federal resources. So we're not duplicating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mary, for bringing that up. On the ordinance end of it, do we need to make sure we provide public notice once we modify or consider modifying the ordinance on any kind of zoning, bulk and things like that? I'm assuming we legally do.
Absolutely. There's a process and Member Tornatori, it will kind of direct through development committee, but there's a whole process with the ZBA public hearing. And once there is a recommendation of these are the changes we need, it'll go through the entire text amendment process.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Dessert?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, based on Member Guston's comments that, a lot of these units, there are differentials. In fact, the one in Glen Ellen that I was mentioning has 42 units and only 26 are DHA qualified. So they're doing multiple layers within single units. Thank you.
And I think, is that one supportive housing too? I think it might be. in Glen-
Yes,
yeah.
very much.
So
is.
there's all
Yes,
different kinds,
yes,
right,
yes.
right. So yeah, so there's lots of different types of housing that we're going to be looking at. But okay, so are we done with the housing with the 2 million for the housing? Okay, now I have a question on the tort liability fund. What was that? No, wait, what? 2.5, yeah, 2.5 million. But I have a question on the tort liability fund. So can you explain to the board how that fund works? Where is the accountability and transparency in that fund? So how does it exactly, how does that fund work?
Tort liability is a fund that we've had in place for as
Long
far
time.
back as I remember. And it's obviously for legal settlements, for anything. As far as what we're doing here, we're simply putting money into that account for, future use. Those settlements are approved by the board. Obviously over a certain amount, I think the state's attorney has authority up to X, and over that, it comes to the board for your consideration and approval and concurrence.
So for county, could we get the amount that the state's attorney has authority to,
We might have that right there.
at 75,000? Okay, great. Okay, good, perfect. Oh, Member Guston?
On a different issue, if that's okay, the local gas tax fund.
Yeah.
I've noticed we're seeing a transfer in that. Obviously, we're already seeing the gas tax go down. Has there been any discussion on legislative side for there to be some conversation about a creative way of other vehicles that don't use gas?
So you're talking
Yes.
about an electric
Mhm.
vehicle
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's got to be state or federal kind of legislative issue to.
That is
Bill,
a
that whole-
state issue, but I will defer to Bill.
Hello again,
Hi,
Bill.
Oh, we got, yes, that is something that's on the radar at the federal level. It's on the radar at the state level. What we're hearing right now is just, it's all discussions, right? There's no firm direction that anybody's kind of settled in on at either level of where they want to be, but it's definitely on the certainly a concern at state DOT, US DOT in terms of how those the highway fund is funded.
So are you going to let us know if there's something legislatively that we need to push forward or support?
Absolutely. As we hear, and it gets discussed, periodically at Transportation Committee, as just a general discussion topic. If we hear anything, whether it comes through legislative, whether we hear it, coming through one of our lobbyists, we'll definitely make sure that the board is aware and that we get our, our stance as a county and that you guys can support it the way that you want to.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have member Zay, member Desart, then member Krajewski. Go ahead, member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know Chair Ozog and the Transportation Committee has been on this. We've looked into passing some kind of fee for electric vehicles, which we don't have the authority to. So again, we are looking at it. We understand the importance of it. And again, hopefully they'll figure something out statewide, nationally that will benefit DuPage County.
Yes, thank you, member Zay. Member Desart?
Thank you. I wanted to go back to the tort liability. It says $2 million additional, and I'm wondering, so have we used up our already approved tort liability? Are there more lawsuits? I know that
No.
this is not bordering on executive session because
So
I'm generalizing.
absolutely. So we do have tort liability, a fund balance. This is simply insurance for the future. And it, rather than the state's attorney or staff coming to you saying, we need to borrow from reserves, we have this special account dedicated. It could be fine for 5 years, 10 years. It could be used in 2 years. I don't know. But this adds to what we already have.
Thank you, Nick. And when is the last time we added to our tort liability?
We added, last surplus in 2022, we added as well. So it's a good fiscal, so we don't have unforeseen down the line. It's putting the money so that it's available to this board in the future.
Thank you, member Desart. Member Krajewski?
On the gas tax, we're at the maximum, right, Bill? And I was just curious on that local gas tax.
Yes, we're at the maximum.
And
That's.
do you know what the
allowed.
surrounding counties are? Are they at the max too?
A few of the counties have gone up to the max. If you were at the low level or the minimum, if you establish it.
Yeah, could you just give me that, what the surrounding counties are?
Yeah,
if they're at the
I'll-
max or not?
I'll reach out to the.
I was driving down Ogden the other day and it really quick on the south by Naperville and it went from DuPage to Kendall. And all of a sudden you could see the gas tax drop dramatically. And I assume that's because they don't have the county tax on it.
Yeah.
And right now
I
it's more-
suspect, I don't know about Kendall, but.
Well, that was really close to
yeah.
DuPage. It was right by Naperville.
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
and I saw how cheaper it was there. And
Yeah.
I assume that's because they didn't either levy any or, but I was just curious what the surrounding counties.
Yeah,
are.
I'll confirm with with certainly the Chicagoland counties I can get very easily and I'll confirm with those folks and then we'll see what else we can find for you.
I just didn't know what, if they went to like, was 8 cents before, right? I think we did the full 8 cents.
Yeah,
and
8 cents. So it's 4 or anywhere up to 8 and then.
yeah, we did 8. I just like to know what the other counties did.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, member Krajewski. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0047-24, creation of the general fund accrual benefits fund.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Zay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0048-24, authorization to transfer and appropriate up to but not to exceed 10.8 million in additional funds from the general fund to the general fund accrual benefits fund for fiscal
Motion.
year 23.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0049-24, authorization to transfer and appropriate up to but not to exceed $10 million in additional funds from the general fund to the accrual benefits fund to the general fund for fiscal year 2024.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. And I see discussion. Member Cahill, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say I really support this. I think this is a really smart thing to do. It is fiscally responsible. It's good for the taxpayers of DuPage County. What we are doing is paying down debt. We are taking money from our surplus to pay for compensated absences that are a liability now for the county. And this is something that would only grow. And if we don't set aside some money to take care of those future expenses, it will only grow and be more costly to the taxpayers. So this is a really smart, fiscally responsible move to make. Thank
Yes,
you.
and member Cahill, I just want to thank you because you suggested this, so it was a really great suggestion. So that's the kind of valuable input we appreciate from our board members. Okay, any other questions or discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Gajewski.
Yes, I move on FIR 0050-24, resolution to approve change to accounting asset capitalization procedures.
A motion by member Krajewski. I'm sorry, who seconded that? Member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Member Krajewski, we move on to informational. I'm going to call Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to receive and place on file informational items. A, payment of claims. B, wire transfers. C, appointments. D, grant proposal notification.
Okay, I have a motion by member Krajewski and a second by member Garcia to receive and place on files items A, B, C, and D under informational. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move on to old business, and I know member Schwarzy had some comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So with regards to an update on our pantry capital infrastructure grants. At our next finance meeting on March 13th, there will be a resolution to appropriate an additional $500,000 for this pantry capital infrastructure grant. All pantries within DuPage County will be notified. The Northern Illinois Food Bank will also reach out to all their contacts. The township supervisors will also be notified. At that point, there will be, once it's approved at the meeting in March, the portal will open and there'll be 60 days to get the grants in. So, and I'm sure people have some questions, so.
Yeah, okay, member Galassi and then member Zay.
Thank you, member Shorzy. I just want to make sure, is that enough? Because, you know, I know one truck is about $80,000 and I know the phone call that we made to the Hinsdale Community Service, they wanted a truck and weren't on the list. So is 500,000 enough?
You know, that money is coming from the roughly 2.6 million that was in the 2024 budget. And you know, whether it's enough or not, food is still an issue. And I don't want to spend all of our money on capital because people do still need to eat. So the plan right now is to go with that $500,000. Now there may be a prioritization needed, whereas this last grant, it wasn't needed because we had more money than we had for grants, but there's certainly prioritization may be needed. The Human Services Committee will have to go through the applications at that point if there's more than $500,000 requested and prioritize. And a lot of that prioritization will be based on, have you already received grant? What have we done for you over the course of the past couple years? How many people do you serve? Things like that.
Thank you. Just a follow up. The conversation I had with the woman at HCS was that they were under the impression there was going to be a pool of these refrigerated trucks. If we find out that we, open the portal, and I think there were already 7, if memory serves, that were asked for. And I know they wanted one. Like if we come to the end of this and there's 16 trucks requested, are we able to look at a sharing possibility instead of,
Well, and I'll let Mary answer in a second. My answer would be, we can't tell any pantry how to operate, but certainly we would encourage pantries to work together. Certainly some of the smaller pantries who may be not using that truck on a daily basis, we would certainly hope that they would be willing to have those conversations, but.
Yeah, I've already reached out to the 7 agencies that were awarded funds for vehicles. A couple of them in their application indicated that they would be sharing with that resource with small pantries. A few of them have said they already have a vehicle under contract because it can be very difficult, but there's 3 or 4 that are interested in discussing at least a joint purchase if that's possible. So we'll be following up with procurement and facilitating a conversation with those. So we can certainly, if there are other vehicles requested, we can certainly do that. There was a section in the application that asked if there was a plan, if they had a plan to share that resource, if they were asking for a vehicle. We did not require it, but we asked if there were others. And we were really looking at that if we had to do some sort of prioritization, that we would have perhaps looked differently at the ones that indicated, yeah, they're a big pantry and then they're gonna use that vehicle to support smaller pantries. So we're certainly encouraging that. But some of them, like I said, are down the road, or they have different vehicle needs, or you know, may have already purchased the vehicle because they were replacing one that was no longer serviceable.
Okay, so I have member Zay, member Garcia, member Krajewski, and then member Tornatori. So member Zay, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I just ask that board members be notified so we can contact our township
Absolutely.
and local pantries? So there's kind of a double check. We can get on their radar so they can't say they didn't get anything or weren't notified. So comes back on us a little bit, notifying these people.
Yeah, I do want to clarify, and I apologize, I was not here 2 weeks ago. So there were 2 emails that went out that I sent out. The first one, there seemed to be some sort of problem with the distribution list. I don't know, honestly, I don't know what happened. It was during that period of time where we were transferring email addresses. So when I looked back, there were some pantries that were missing. However, I did send a second email back, it was November 28th, and all of the pantries were very clearly listed. And I can show that email to any board member who's interested, but they all were notified. It was sent out as a reminder about the opportunity. I did have one individual call me the other day and say, you know, we thought it was a reminder, so we thought it was something we had done already. So so there was a communication gap. I apologize. I take full responsibility for that. And we'll just do a whole lot better this time. I will say Northern Illinois Food Bank did send out a notice to their network, as did there's an organization called the DuPage Hunger Network, which is an affiliation of all agencies that are working on food insecurity. They sent out that notice as well. But clearly there were gaps, and so we will absolutely do better than next time. And I will make sure all of the board members get a copy of what is sent out after the appropriation.
Yeah, and I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong. I'm just saying it puts a little bit of the onus on board members to
Right.
go out to their townships and their local pantries. So
Mhm.
you guys do a great job. Wasn't a
No, I know.
slight at anybody. It's
Well, I
just-
just want to be fully transparent. So
Yeah,
there
so
was
no,
there was a
good.
problem, and you know, I think it's important to acknowledge that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to reiterate what Mary said. I was gonna say that there was multiple emails sent out to let the food pantries know that I thought a press release was also given out by Evan. I'm not sure if that was done, 'cause I remember sharing that on my own social media to try to get people to do that. So that's something, if we can do again, that's always something that's helpful. Just to reiterate what member Schwarzy said, was what in the many meetings that we've had, one of the biggest needs that these food pantries needs is food. I mean, it's constantly, everything we hear is food, and that is not going to go away in the near future that I see. So we do have to keep a lot of money set aside, I think, so we have to make sure that we are going to be covering that need. So I think that's something we have to keep in mind when we'd love to give all of this for capital improvements, but we know that people are still going to be hungry after that. So we have to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you, member Garcia. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 2 things. One, to pick up on what member Galassi said, I did also talk with Hinsdale, and not only is there need for the refrigerator truck dire now, it was 3 years ago when this whole thing happened. When we uncovered the problem in DuPage County, we were actually at a check presentation, and I think you and member Garcia were there, but right before when you guys got there, I was asking them some of the same questions that we had heard from pantries, and they said their number one concern was getting a refrigerator truck. And of course, they service that Willowbrook area where the shooting and they do all the food out there. But based on a meeting and conversations here months ago, they didn't think that was an option because it was presented as a sharing. So it is a very big need for them. And then ultimately, when they open the portal up and it comes back, and if we get 600 or 700,000, it's basically the 10 of us 18 can decide we want to put 750 behind it. Or if 10 of us want more money, we want to fund a few extra. Clearly, if it comes to 2 million, we have to make, decisions, but it's ultimately 10 of us. Majority, it's going to decide if we want to put more money into the program or not. So we'll wait and see when the list comes back. And if we have more than 500,000 and we decide majority wants to put a few more dollars in, we can cover it all, or we have to prioritize.
Absolutely. Thank you, Member Krajewski. Member Tornatori?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Member Schwarzy and Mary for what you're doing and clarify. I had obviously a number of conversations with people in my district after the last thing, wondering how this fell through the cracks. And I think the reminder, as you said, there were some people who thought that was already done, and sending it to the township supervisors is terribly important because I think some of them went to staff. At least that's what I was told, and it didn't get to them. Question I have, are the food pantries that receive money under the last grant, are they going to be precluded from this new money?
No, they can reapply, but again, if we have to prioritize, we may look at people who have not received anything versus having received.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, I think that, yeah.
Thank you, by the way.
Okay, anything else under old business? Okay, anything, do we have anything under new business? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Member Cahill, second by Member Yu. All those in favor?